The story that you were telling me was how when you were a, a, a young woman who had moved from the east to the west, and you couldn't find anybody else's book. You wanted to find a book that somebody else who had been through that journey, and it wasn't
There
out
were
there.
there were books, but not the nitty-gritty books that talk about the hard stuff like dating and arranged marriages and, trauma and the R word and, all of that abuse. I didn't find anything like that.
So you wanted to write that.
I did, didn't I?
And like I say, I had no doubt that you could do it. I still have no doubt that you could do it. And then like I say, a day later or 2 days later, you sent me some of your writing, and I mean, I didn't doubt you for a second, but I'm like, holy shit, this girl can play on a global level.
I think, again, your opinions and my opinions of my skills are so different.
So the experiment that we were talking about before we started rolling this was we're gonna see which of us is right.
What's our hypothesis? Well, what's the question? Let's start with the problem, y'all. I'm really good at scientific methods, so I used to teach middle school science. So we've got to have a problem.
So the problem is whether well, that was the way you used to phrase it, whether one person can make a difference.
I don't think I'm important enough to make such a big problem, address such a big problem. I feel like that needs to come from people who are in, like, positions that can actually, like, change people.
Yeah, but those people that are in those positions at the moment, are they doing anything?
Not really, but there's also compassion to be had on them because they're bound by a system as well.
I'm not being not compassionate with them, but they're not seeing this as the base of all the other problems. And I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but I think this is part of the root of the problem. We're not going to be able to get along on a global scale if we can't get along on
A micro scale.
a micro scale.
And human connection is just becoming so uncomfortable for people these days. Like, put people at, like, a restaurant or, like, at a bar or, like, a coffee shop where they're sitting close or next to each other. Every single one of them is on their phones. Like, their nonverbal body language is just so closed off. It's, like, uncomfortable. It's like they're crawling out of their skins. But, so long story short, your hypothesis is yes. And specifically that one person being me.
One person being Muhammad.
Y'all, there's so many different versions. I don't even know which one's right. I don't even know if there's a right or wrong. But with my current state of mind, I guess the most honest truthful hypothesis that I can make is we're just not there yet as a society for this to actually work. And I think it's really noble of me to have tried. And I think it's so powerful that authors like Brene Brown and other people are trying. I envy the strength and the resilience they must have faced to get to the places that they are now. And I also just don't feel like I'm cut out for it. So I say no. And so, kind of to summarize that despair conversation, because obviously, there's lots of talking me off of lots of ledges, we decided to give this a shot. And the procedure is y'all are a target audience, producing X amount of, episodes per week. I don't know, per day. I have no idea. We'll come up with a methodology later. But I owe you that much for how much you've impacted my life. Here goes nothing.